Hey everyone, welcome to DV Live. I'm Amanda Diaz, the marketing coordinator here at Desert Valleys. So, Eric is on vacation this week, and we're hijacking again. I know, right? When did we get one?
I know.
So, Chip Holloway and I decided to hijack this week's episode and talk a little bit about our board of directors. So, hi Chip.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy
Through
Tuesday.
the glass, the new normal.
I know, right? Welcome. I feel like we should name the glass or something. It's always here.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about the board of directors and the role here at the credit union. I'm sure not a lot of people know what board of directors do and maybe like the background of it.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first for any viewers or members who might not know who you are.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a few new people in town that don't, which is good for me, bad for them. But as you know, I've been on the board since 1999. The reason I got on the board in 1999 is that at that time I was mayor of Ridgecrest. And Cindy Hare, who was the CEO at that time before Eric, recruited me. And unfortunately, I came on as a board member, and within about 90 days, the sitting board president died at that time.
Wow.
A great guy. And because I was already in government, they just assumed I was natural to be the new board president. And as they say, as the rest is history, I was on the board from 1999, and then I took a break from the board in 2014 and came back in 2018, I believe.
Welcome back.
So I think Dave and I are the longest serving board members. On the board right now. I owned Wiener Schnitzel at one time, Texas Cattle Company. Wiener Schnitzel's still here. Texas Cattle Company is now Casa Corona. I owned.
You can totally give me the Texas Cattle Company toast anytime.
Texas Cattle. We've toyed with the concept of bringing Texas cattle back, just for nostalgia, if no other reason.
Hey.
And I got off the council in 2014, and I have a consulting company, and I still do some consulting work for waste management. I'm still the local rep for waste management for their commercial recycling coordinators by title. But anybody has a waste management problem, you can still contact me. I'll help you any way I can.
So you're the go-to.
And then my main job is I've been CEO of the Desert Empire Fairgrounds since 2015.
Okay.
So
that's exciting. We can't wait to have that back.
Yeah, hopefully. We are the last fair in California. So if we don't have a fair this year, it's going to be very depressing because that means nobody had a fair in California.
We definitely need some funnel cakes in our life.
Yeah.
So what exactly is a board of directors, and why is a board beneficial to the credit union operations?
The board of directors, so many people that get involved in boards or have the impression that they're there to find problems. And it's not really the case. They're there for oversight, direction, and create vision.
Okay.
And they're not there to micromanage. And I say that because right now I sit on 4 boards, which I thought I'd pare that down after I got on city council. But if you go through my 16 years on city council, I've sat on so many boards, and you see every single board has a personality. Okay. And a lot of what the success and failure of the board is based on the CEO or the individual that manages that board. In this case, it would be the CEO, Eric. Okay. And Eric does a good job of keeping the board well-informed. No surprises, which I don't think any board likes surprises.
Well, I think that's good transparency.
Right, and he tries. And he's the most important thing, because I have a board that I have to answer to in my job at the fairgrounds, because that board, different than this board, that board's a state signed by the governor. You have to be appointed by the governor of California to be on my board. And it's a tough process, and there's no benefit to it. You get no payment or anything.
So it's all volunteer.
It's all volunteer, which our board is too.
Mm-hmm.
We do get a few perks, but nothing specific or directed or expected. But
quality time with Eric.
Yeah, that's the best thing about being on this board.
Zoom meetings now too.
But our board is really we've got a good board. We got a good diversity on our board. Mm-hmm. We got a couple people. If you count me, even though I don't have a business right now, I have a strong business background. And we've got Sam Hand, Sam's Auto Sam's Auto Body. And then we've got a dentist, Ann Brett. We've got a former educator, because she just retired, Jill Board. And we've got Mike Myers, spent a long time with the Ridgecrest Police Department, and also was a DARE officer, where so many people that have grown up, you don't realize how old you're getting, but people now are of working age and have kids still remember Mike when he was a DARE officer all along. It's been a long time since he was a DARE officer.
He brought that up, so I'm going to age myself here. He was my DARE officer, I believe, in 96, 97.
Right.
And I was at the last board meeting. It was my first board meeting. And he, at the end of it, he was like, I recognize you from somewhere. And we're naming off the cinemas, town, everywhere else. Right. And he's like, nope. And I was like, you were my DARE officer.
I have the same problem. It usually comes back to they were customers at Wiener Schnitzel in high school. I've literally got a girl working for me at the fairgrounds who came in as an infant with her mother at Wiener Schnitzel, which is embarrassing for me. But so we've got a good diversity on our board, and everybody on our board is absolutely committed to the members.
And it sounds like they're really rooted in this community.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and, the other longest serving board member is Dave he works for Cyril's Valleys now. They changed the name.
Okay, yes. Dave Barrett.
Dave Barrett, yeah. And he's been he works the credit union, if you don't know, and most people probably don't at this point, in Ridgecrest, started in Trona.
Yes.
I think in 1946, and it was called Cyril's Valley Credit Union, which my claim to fame, 2 claims of fame that I take credit for, although Eric tries to steal it, is changing the name. That's one of my directives as a board president, because I thought nobody knew how to pronounce Cyril's Valley that wasn't from here. It was Cyrillus, they didn't know. And I came on when we actually opened our first branch in Ridgecrest. So we didn't have a branch in Ridgecrest prior to 1999.
Oh, interesting.
So I thought Cyril's had to be changed to something that people could recognize and we could brand better. And this building. And unfortunately for Eric, this building was planned probably 95% before Eric got hired as our new CEO. And that was right at the time. It came in at a budget price much lower than it originally ended up being, because that was right at the time of Hurricane Katrina, and raw materials and everything went through the roof because there was so much. China was building like crazy at that time, taking raw materials and then
try and rebuild, right?
And then Katrina took all the stuff for. So this credit union was about 3 times the original cost. And Eric made it work. He resisted. It didn't. He came to the board initially and said, "I don't want to do it." And we said, "You have no choice." And Eric doesn't take direction well, but he did it, and now he loves it. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And if he has nobody to call him out, he'll take full credit for it. Which I'll let him do that when he wants to. But he does deserve a lot of credit, because a lot of people would have just told the board, "No, I can't do it." He had no experience in building a building like this. And to me, this is almost a bigger accomplishment than some of the stuff I accomplished on the city council.
It's one thing that I hear a lot of people do say. It's still like the architecture and just the building itself.
It stands out. We've got a great location.
And then our little mobile branch.
Right. Mike Myers and I deserve credit for that one. Because we do go to a conference.
We still come out to you, Trona. Don't you worry.
We go to a conference every year, the annual conference in Washington, D.C., and there's a trade show, and there's always, our change machine, too, is something that came out of that conference. And Eric, we saw one of those mobile branches, Mike and I, and it kind of started out tongue-in-cheek because we didn't think we could really afford it. So then Eric started with a version which was going to be a glorified motorhome converted, and we said, no. We go big, and we do it right. And it's a unique asset in that it's not really so much times in business you can get a really clear ROI on your investment, and you can really see, clear-cut dollars and cents, impressions or whatever, where your value is on that investment. The mobile branch doesn't have the tangible that a lot of investments have, but we think the visibility alone, and that branch shows up in so many different places, it creates that front of mind for the credit union that you can't really put a price on, but I think long term, and it's served its purpose, in several occasions already, where we were open right after the earthquake, and we were able to offer services where if we didn't have that branch, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
Because it's also a mobile ATM, which is nice.
It's a mobile ATM. It's always at the fair, and I had an ATM at the fair. To be quite honest, I thought that might be overkill, but having the mobile branch there and my own ATM there neither one of us has suffered. I still get as many transactions at my ATM, and the credit union gets a ton of transactions at the fair, which is great because it's much more convenient for people because they don't have to walk all the way from wherever they are to where the ATM is. There's split, between the two.
The spacing.
The area. So, but and you asked me why is a board member? Why most board members love this board? And it's because we are already, and this is a credit to Eric, and don't let him see this, but
Eric, close your eyes.
Eric's always pushing himself, pushing the employees here, and pushing the board. We don't like to call them employees; they're more team members, as you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Eric's he's never satisfied with status quo, and sometimes our team members get a little frustrated because he takes on more, and he's got other outside interests that take from him. He's got 4 kids now.
Yep.
When I met Eric, he was a single guy, crazy and free and happy. And since he's been here, he's now got a wife and 4 kids. So that's how much things have changed. And
transition's good though.
Yeah, so
keeps us going.
But he's always kept the credit union at the forefront, and the main reason. I think Dave, Mike, and I are the board members that are still here that were responsible for hiring Eric. But, Eric's father is a Hall of Fame credit union CEO, literally. I'm not saying that figuratively. He was elected into the Credit Union Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
And he ran a $2 billion credit union in Hollywood. And we hoped that Eric would have a Rolodex that would be invaluable. And he literally grew up in this business. So his love of credit unions, he was born with, and he's carried that on. And I joke, but it's not really a joke. Many times I go to Washington, D.C. with him to keep him from being stolen from this credit union because he's such an asset that so many people want. And he knows everybody because if you know Eric, you know that he knows how to network.
Yeah.
And there's a core group of young CEOs.
I would hate to go to Walmart with him for a quick trip.
Right. And it's a tremendous asset for our community that we have Eric and for the city of Ridgecrest and for this credit union because he's brought, if you didn't know that we're considered a small credit union.
Yes.
You wouldn't think that by looking at the services we offer, the things like this. I don't see any of the big credit unions taking a step like this in Ridgecrest.
Well, and it's fun. It's experimental, and we get to hang out and chit chat.
Right, and if you're not moving forward, and you're stagnant, you're technically moving backwards.
Yes.
And Eric has never allowed that to happen, and he does a lot of back office stuff that's not sexy that the member appreciates, but they don't even know why they appreciate it.
Well, and I think that's one thing with the board. Like, not a lot of people. I'll be honest. A year ago, I'm a member here. I had no idea what the board did or why we had a board or your role.
And the other reason I got on this board is because I don't have any love for banks. There's a true distinction between credit unions and banks.
Yes.
The biggest distinction that banks will tell you is we're not taxed, and they get very frustrated by that because some credit unions are huge. Navy Fed is a huge financial institution.
Yes. And
could compete with any bank if they wanted to. But we're not shareholder driven. So we make decisions that can benefit our members. Where we go out and buy that mobile branch, a bank that's committed to shareholders would probably not make that investment in the community and just put it into dividends or stock prices. And we also have the flexibility to move quickly. I mean, we moved quick on the earthquake with earthquake grants. Just recently, we were the first one out the box with the PPP loans.
Yes.
And we put almost, I don't know what the latest number is because we're in round 2, but in the first round, we put almost $5 million into this community. In our community, that's significant.
That's huge for our local businesses, for economy, for everybody.
And so many people are intimidated by finance like that, SBA loans or dealing with SBA or EDD or EDA. And we handheld people, which is kind of the other reason I love this credit union, this board, is we don't just provide a service, we try to get to know our members.
Yes.
And even when they're struggling, it's not, oh, so sorry for you. It's like, how can we help you not make the same mistake to get in this position again?
It's a lot of learning and education.
And the financial education is so lacking in our society today. One of the most proud things that we do is our, I can't think of the word for it, with the kids. We do the
for Bite of Reality.
Bite of Reality.
Yes.
Yeah, that exercise is so valuable. And I think if every parent knew we did that, they would insist that their kids go to this event. And if you don't know what it is, real quickly, we invite a bunch of high school kids, typically seniors or juniors or seniors, and they come to the event. They're assigned a document that says you're a wife, you're married to so-and-so, your husband's a mechanic, you're a doctor, and you have 2 kids.
Yep.
This is your incomes. Now, and then we each have a booth, childcare, auto, home, luxuries, trips, whatever. And the board members and volunteers in the community work together, and we try to break these kids, make them over budget and waste their money and spend frivolously. But they get a chance to see what their parents are going through and what they've got to deal with in the future.
How much diapers really cost.
And it's amazing because a lot of times I work the cell phone booth, and the kids, when they have to pay for the cell phone, they don't want the smartphone. They just want the flip phone with no features.
The Nokia brick that doesn't die.
Or I'm in the car booth a lot, and they don't want a second car for their wife or their spouse. Or they'll take the bus. And that's the kind of decision. I wish we could do that for the city budget. When I was on council, because the public now has no clue.
So this year, I'm currently working on a virtual Bite of Reality,
Okay.
New normal, COVID and everything, so we can all stay tuned for that, I'm sure.
Anybody that sees this, if you've got kids, get your kids invited to Bite of Reality.
Yes.
Because you won't be giving your retirement funds to your kids in 20 years. So if you can get them structured going in.
So back to a couple of questions here. I know we're just chit-chatting, and it's kind of nice. I'm learning over here, too. So what makes our mission at Desert Valleys meaningful to you as our chairman, and how does it align with the board's shared values?
Our boards, sometimes you don't like to hear this. We're pretty much a 7-0 board or whatever, but we may fight about getting to a decision, but once we get to a decision, we're all in. But we all have the same shared goal, and that is to help the member. And what can we do to help the member? What can we also do with our staff to help our staff grow? Because if you can retain your staff and you have staff buy-in, that in turn helps the members.
Yes.
No member wants to walk up to a team member and can see that they don't like their job.
And I think everybody here feels included as part of the family.
Oh, and I get frustrated sometimes. We handhold our members so much sometimes. But that's the uniqueness that we have to put. Sometimes I get frustrated at the phone. People get put on phone holds, but there's so many places you call and you don't get a real person when you answer the phone.
Yes.
And that's unique about us. And we insist that Eric maintain those values. And when somebody's, in financial trouble, instead of just burying them with fees and tell them we got no hope for you, we try to show grace and we try to work with them and get them in a better situation. All those type of little things are unique to even credit unions in some cases, because as credit unions get bigger, that personal touch goes away. So we're always looking for the personal touch. But at the same time, we don't want to be hokey. We want to have the new technology. We want to have the apps. We want to have the mobile deposit. We want to have all those kind of services they expect from everywhere else. And we've got to be cognizant of this new generation coming up that's way younger than me and wants things and does trust tools that older people may not trust. So that's what we look to do. And we're always, it's great that we have Eric that's a younger CEO and he's aware of those things and he brings it to our boards and we trust him.
Okay. What personal aspirations or leadership roles have encouraged you to actively participate in our board specifically? I know you're part of 4 different ones and everywhere else.
I just feel like this board has we can truly affect change. So many boards I sit on is just a rubber stamp and you've got to follow a huge policy guidelines. And I've had board packets where the decision is two yeses and everything in that packet has no meaning. It's just boilerplate. Where we truly are creative and we make decisions that can impact our members, can impact the community, and you can see results quickly.
Okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
No one wants to sit around and wait.
I don't like 20 years. And we do a goal setting we do at least every 5 years, usually every 1 to 2 years, and recalibrate our vision, see what we did right, what we did wrong, what we want to change. I mean, clearly we got to change this year because COVID was in no strategic planning sessions.
Yeah.
And the way we need to react to that is important, and we did. We did have a session, and we know there's some things coming down the pike that there's going to be problems that nobody has foreseen yet that we have. And
do you feel that with the board, the credit union navigated COVID well or better? Or
I think we did. We were very cognizant to do it better, that we wanted to be open first. But at the same time, we wanted to protect our staff, our team members. I keep calling them staff. But they and we came up with that pod formula where we made sure that not one person could bring the whole credit union if we had a mass, a contact tracing issue where we had to send everybody home at once. And we were actually a model. Other credit unions called Eric to see how he did it. Now it bit us in the butt lately because it was just, we're so small. It's just, sometimes you just can't get around it. But it I think we did as well as anybody in the community on the COVID, and you got to throw the PPP in with the COVID.
Absolutely. I think the whole credit union jumped on that and was so great working with the businesses.
Yeah, and our team members worked it wasn't just Eric. Eric always gets a lot of credit, and we give him a hard time about breaking his arm, patting himself on the back. But he acknowledges it. You're in the board meetings. He acknowledges our team and gives them credit where they deserve. But we did have team members working 18-hour days to get those PPP loans out. And you can't. If we didn't have the culture here, they wouldn't be willing to do that. And that goes all to the long-term culture that we've established here since Eric got here and even before.
So, final question: are board meetings open to the public, or how can members voice their concerns or
the only board meeting that's absolutely open to public is our annual meeting? And then getting the message, you can email the board or you can email Eric. Eric does bring all correspondence. It's in the board packets every month. So if there is any correspondence that we need to hear from the public, that's available to you as a member. Okay. And also we do surveys all the time to gauge. We just did one to gauge our membership and see where we're struggling to provide for our members and where we're doing really well. So we always want to hear back from our members.
So it's another resource where their voices are getting heard. It's being read by real people, discussed by real people.
And you can always call a board member. People call me all the time, and I send them. And because you deal probably closer with Eric than anybody here. If somebody needs to get to Eric, they can get to Eric as a member. He works for them just as much as he works for the board. Yep. We all work for the member.
Most of the time now, the members see me first.
Correct. As you know, Eric has a new role, so he's going to have more people contact him for things outside the credit union. Yes. And that needs to be protected, and he's committed, and the board's committed. He will not let that role diminish any of the level of participation with the credit union.
Awesome. So, sorry, I had one more question, I guess.
Okay.
Do the terms rotate, or how can members get involved?
The board, getting on the board is not easy. But Eric does always, anybody that wants to get on the board, he keeps their resume, and there's a list of applications that are always on standby. Awesome. We makes an effort to do a diverse mix on the board, so we don't get all base employees, we don't get all We try to get a good representation of a community, a diverse representation, age, job, gender, all of those things. And unfortunately, because it's such a family environment, most of our board members only leave because they leave town or totally retire and don't want to do anything. So there's not that often the opens come out. I think the terms are 4 years. Okay. But we revote the board, certain members every 2 years. So there's always longevity, and there's not totally new board members all at once. Awesome. But I don't think, I think our shortest serving board member right now is probably about 6 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
We got some good experience on our board.
That's good. And I think that goes back to the brand and the culture of the credit union.
Right.
You guys have seen the evolution, help grow, and keep us ever changing.
Yeah, it's never. I go sit in board members, and it's our board meetings, and I'm like, when's this going to be over? Our board meetings, there's always something to discuss. There's always something to encourage. Plus, I love the financials. I mean, I'm a financial guy, so we always have numbers to deal with.
All the numbers, all the charts.
Yeah. So, in which 90% of people care nothing about that. So,
But those do come out in the annual reports.
They do come out in the annual report.
All of you get.
And we do, just to give a little history, when I got on this board, we were a $7 million credit union. We just broke $50 million credit union, and we had, I think when I got on this board, just under 2,000 members, and we're close to hitting 5,000 members. So we're doing something right.
Something. I think we're answering the phones.
Yeah,
as real humans.
Answering the phone. You can't discount that.
No.
Even though sometimes you got to wait on hold. We're working on that.
You can always reach out on Facebook too.
Facebook and use it. Not many people. We have that text feature too.
We do have a text feature as well.
And use your mobile deposit. Your mobile deposit goes in right away now, folks. Yes. I love it. If they can figure out how to get me cash, I'll never come down here except for board meetings.
Hey now. We'll have to come bug you.
Right.
Well, thank you, Chip, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So this was exciting and new and
Through the Glass.
I know, Through the Glass.
That could be our name of our segments from now on, Through the Glass.
Through the Glass, there we go. Well, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you all for tuning in, and be sure to catch us back at 4 o'clock for City Talk with Councilman Kyle Blades. Bye, guys.